When you think about living a simple life, what do you think about? Do you think about living in the country? Do you think about being debt free? Do you think about not working and having every day to plan as you wish? I grew up right here, only about 1,000 feet or so from this area. And this was my childhood home. Most of my life, except for just a few years, I've lived here. And I'm getting ready to make big changes by going to Texas and living in my RV. And I'm a little nervous about that in a way. I'm looking forward to the weather, but I'm also going to miss my home. And I'm going to miss some of the things that I've gotten used to by living here in the middle of nowhere in a rural area where I have so much privacy. Both sets of my grandparents were farmers. My parents were farmers. So I grew up in a rural area, in a wheat field, in an alfalfa field, helping vaccinate cattle. That's what our days looked like here on the farm. One of my dad's homemade gates. But my grandparents lived through the Dust Bowl days. My grandma said she would have to hang a linen wet cloth over the windows to try to keep the dust from coming in because it could be fatal, especially to children and babies. They lived in hard times before electricity, before indoor plumbing, but they enjoyed their life. They made it meaningful. And I was raised with that appreciation of the land. I went to school about 7 miles from here and rode the bus at a school that was under 300 kids from kindergarten to senior year. I was only the second girl in my family to get a college degree. My niece actually beat me to the first girl to receive a college degree. My dad dropped out of high school in 10th grade to farm, and my mom had a high school degree. Education was really important to my family, so I spent a lot of my life when I was raising my children saving to send them to college. I know not everyone would agree with that, and a lot of people don't believe in higher education, but with the background that I had, it was very important. And so all of them had a 4-year degree that I paid for, and then many of them went on to get master's degree, PhDs, and Juris Doctorates after the 4-year degree. I spent my life working as a nursing home administrator. I worked my way up through being a cook, a dietary manager, an office manager, and I retired in late October to do what I've always dreamed of, not work and enjoy my day-to-day life. I really love it here. I don't feel like I spend enough time here in our back pasture area, and I want to do more of that this next summer. Right now it's winter, so it's kind of cold, but we're having a mild day today. I think it's supposed to be around 57, and it's very quiet up here. There's no people. And that's one of the things that I kind of worry about when I go to Texas. We are in a 55 and over community. And when you step out of your camper, there are people everywhere. And I told my husband the other day, I said, I don't know how I will adapt to that. It's fine as a vacation spot. So used to alone time and not having people around. I'm not sure how I'll do my videos with people everywhere. Here, it's just quiet and peaceful, and there's no people. Sometimes you can hear some traffic up here, but even then, not always. And things in the country are so different. You know, if we hear a siren, it's a big deal because it might be a friend or a neighbor or someone we know. We don't just block out the sirens. We don't have any trains out here. Our train tracks were taken out years ago. Sorry, I have a cat that is just insistent on climbing my leg. And we have all kinds of wide open spaces with no one around. Behind me is our little cabin that we had transported from San Antonio. It's quite a few years old now. It's just a 1-bedroom cabin with no electricity, no utilities of any sort. They transported it up here from San Antonio for $5,000. And after they did, they told us they would never do that again. They made it as far as the Kansas line, taking back roads, and then they were stopped at the Kansas line between Oklahoma and Kansas and told that they had to have a pilot car and had to wait there for several hours to get a pilot car to help them get it here the rest of the way. It was already built. They put it on cinder blocks, and we enjoy it up here for picnics and family parties. But as you can tell, it was very, very affordable at the time that we got it. I doubt you could get a $5,000 cabin now, especially transported from Texas and set up on your land. My goal wasn't always to retire early. In fact, I don't even know what my goal was. I never really thought about retirement. I never thought about saving in 401ks. I was raised to save money, but I was raised to save it on my own. And when they would offer 401ks, I always would turn them down unless they were mandatory where I worked at. I've had a couple of jobs where they were mandatory, and then when I left, I cashed them out, even at the penalty, because I always felt more secure having the money in my savings than having it in a 401k. And I know not everyone would agree with that, but I was raised with parents who saved money and didn't always put everything they had in the bank because they lived through the era where there was the biggest stock market crash. They lived with their parents, not always trusting banks because there was no FDIC when everything crashed. And so they trusted their own savings more than they did putting the money somewhere else. I know a lot of people believe in investing. That's nothing that I've ever done. And so when I cashed out those 401ks, I always felt more secure because I knew that money was accessible if I needed it. Even this last job that I had also reinforced that in me because my 401k has lost a lot of money. Through all of this financial instability we've had, we were still required to put money in our 401k. And when I checked it again yesterday, I had lost money again. So at first opportunity this next year, I will probably go ahead and cash that out and put it in a savings account because I'm not one of those to sit around and wait to see if it comes back up or if I'm just going to continue to lose money. I've lost money this last year many, many times in that 401k. In fact, I hate to even look at it. And I've heard from a lot of other people that they've had the same problem. So that's just my philosophy and the way I was raised. And maybe when you see where I'm from, you would understand that. I just feel more self-reliant knowing what I have and easily being able to access what I have when I need it. Every choice we make is our own. Everybody doesn't agree with what everybody else does. Everybody has different life experiences that they bring to the table. And mine, I know sometimes are very old-fashioned, but they've got me this far, and they've allowed me to retire early because I was taught at a young age to save money, to be frugal, to be careful with my spending, and then to spend that extra money where it was most meaningful to me. I do not look at lack. I don't feel like I'm lacking anything here, even though I live very old-fashioned. Some people may watch this video and see that I have lack, see that I don't have a modern house and I don't have modern conveniences and I don't live close to modern places that would make my life easier. But for me, I don't see lack. I only see abundance. I see lots of wide open spaces. I see quiet. I see peacefulness. I see a freezer full of food. I have cut back to only shopping about every 2 weeks since I've retired. I've realized that I don't need to go that often. We have plenty. And when I use what I have, it builds that creativity and it builds the ideas I have to add to that bag of tricks to save more money. I learn more recipes. I learn how to do more things independently that maybe I would have grabbed thinking, oh, this will be easier, this will be faster. Now I don't look at that. I don't look at what is easier and faster. I look at what I can do for myself that will leave money in my pocket for those fun things that I want to do later. I don't look at it as I'm doing without. I look at it as adding new skills or forgotten skills or new ideas to my financial freedom. Now, when I wake up in the morning, I wake up leisurely. I think about what tasks I want to do that day, and I try to pick a couple of projects that might be things that I haven't been able to do since I was working full time. And I'm really finding that enjoyable and exciting. I feel like that silent to-do list that we all have in the back of our mind of all these things we want to do when we get the time is actually getting some of those boxes checked off. These aren't things that I actually had made a list of. They're just things that I thought, this would be kind of fun to do, or this would be nice to do. Or every time you look at it, you think, wow, I still need to do that. And it hasn't been done yet, but you don't have any time to put it in your schedule. Now I pick a couple of those every single day and I add them to my schedule and I feel so accomplished at the end of the day. So I'm going to share a few of those things that I did this week with you. Have you ever had that sweater that every single winter you pull it out and put it on, and then you're like, oh my gosh, there's a hole in it. I keep forgetting there's a hole in it. I sat down and patched up the holes today, and even though I'm not a seamstress, the holes are done and it's perfect for an everyday sweater, and I no longer have holes. Things like this are just so peaceful to get off of that silent to-do list. And I'm not sure how this happened to my husband's Kansas City Chiefs blanket, but I'm going to repair that today as well. Since I've retired, I have been able to do some fun things. Like I started this YouTube channel almost 3 years ago, just for something fun and interesting to do and to make new friends. And that has absolutely happened. Then my kids encouraged me to make a cookbook of Depression era recipes. I did that in October of 22. And then my son encouraged me to make another one in October of 23 because I couldn't get all of my favorites in there. And over that next year's time, I thought, man, these are some favorites as well. So he helped me publish these two books that are on Amazon, 50 Frugal Recipes When Cooking on a Budget and 50 More Frugal Recipes that are my family's favorites. So just because you're going into retirement doesn't mean every day is going to be boring. In fact, for me, it has not been. And we'll see how it goes as it continues. But so far, every day is a new adventure. Every day is my own. Every day isn't planned out for me. And I love that so much because when I worked, there wasn't a lot of me time. There wasn't a lot of time to think about what I would like to do or what I would like to accomplish. I would be at work thinking, man, I could do this and this and this. And then by the time you get home, you didn't want to do any of it. Now I can actually do some of those things. I think we have a visitor. Brownie. So, like I said, he has a lot of land here that he can do what he wants with. But I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you have, would you please give me a like and a subscribe? I would really appreciate that. This channel is growing. I'm excited about that. And I would love for all of you to come along with me. I hope you have a great day.